when it comes to what do you mean by Cognos TM1 10.2 or 10.1 or 9.4 or 9.5 version says, TM1 stands for Table Manager 1 is the first thing which we need to understand. Second thing is, it's an analytical tool. 100% it's an analytical tool. It's not meant for transactions recording. It's meant for analysis. When I say analysis, which means we are going to put the consolidated values into the TM1 cubes so that the decision can be taken only on that consolidated values. For example, if I say the sales of a particular product in a particular region are let's say 10 and 20 and 30. So these are the three types of transactions we have got recorded from there. So the consolidated value of 10 and 20 and 30, that 60 will be recorded in TM1. The transaction level information will be kept somewhere else outside TM1, that is not recorded in TM1. In order to take a decision, the consolidated information which will be entered in some root level, which is called as a basic level or leaf level, we will be entering the data over there, and from there onwards we will be taking the decision in TM1. That is what we are going to see. Second part is, what does TM1 stand for? TM1 stands for Table Manager 1. Okay, Table Manager 1. And what are the previous versions we have got in TM1? We have got 7.4, 7, 7.4, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.4, 9.5, 9.5.1, 9.5.2, even 9.4.1 also is there. And even then from there onwards, just right away jumped into Cognos 10, Cognos TM1 10, and from there onwards we moved on to Cognos TM1 10.2, 10.2.2 is the latest version what we are learning now. Okay, 10.2, lot of changes when compared with 10.1. And why am I saying 10 version? Cognos 10 is a basic version. I mean to say, so it's like a family or it's like a root version for us. The primary reason why we are mentioning Cognos 10 is, in Cognos TM1 10 version, we have got a common platform called as Cognos configuration. One major advantage I am giving here, we have got a common Cognos configuration utility file which is used for TM1, which is used for your Cognos BI, which is used for your Cognos controller. For all these three different tools, I have never said this as in different applications. I am saying this, I am referring this to as a tool. We are having them as we are having them in Cognos configuration utility file, which is a common one. Earlier in 9.4 and 9.5 versions, we used to have a separate TM1 Cognos utility file, Cognos configuration utility file for TM1, separate one for Cognos BI, separate one for Cognos controller. TM1 is used for management reporting. Cognos BI is used for reporting purpose. Since you guys are both in reporting, you must be knowing that. And controller is used for statutory reporting. You must have seen 10K, 10Q, quarterly reports and half-yearly reports and all are prepared in the industries. So the same thing can be generated through Cognos controller. And coming to the infrastructure, this is the general setup. This is the normal setup what we are having here. So TM1 10.2 will come only with, I would say will come only for Cognos TM1. It won't, you will not have BI or you will not have controller products in this TM1 10.2 version or 10.1 version. But if you are going to purchase the license for Cognos 10, you can have all these three. If you want specifically done for only Cognos TM1 license, so then there is a separate rate for that. Separate cost is involved in that. I'll show you the cost rate also, cost card also, so that you will get to know what exactly the license cost of each and every individual user is being consumed. Unit is consumed in TM1 environment. You can know how costly is the TM1 tool. Alright, but at the same time, who are our competitors? If you talk about our competitors, I would say Hyperion. Hyperion also they have got SBase, Brio reporting, Hyperion financial reporting management, and various applications we have got over there. If you mark my words very carefully, they are called as applications over there, but here we are calling in TM1 as tools. I will come to this point once again later down the lane. So when you're talking about an application, we got to have one data warehouse, and from there an ETL external ETL tool is required. so that data will be populated into the data warehouse, and from there the reports will be generated. It's just normal course of action, what you used to do normally in Cognos BI. But in TM1, we don't have a database. I'm repeating my statement once again, we don't have a database. All the information, whatever is getting reported, is getting loaded in the RAM memory only. For that reason, as a matter of fact, a small example is we need minimum of 10 GB of RAM memory for 1 or 2 cubes. In my company, we are having around RAM memory of 1 TB. In my previous company, we used to have RAM memory of 2 TB. Now you can imagine how much data is getting flowed in those RAM memories. That's one area. Second thing is, all the data which is sitting in the RAM memory will be saved on a timely basis into the hard disk. For that reason, we need to have hard disk of 3 TB, 4 TB, 5 TB, 10 TB, or whatever you call it. So it depends upon the project or the requirement. So we are going to have the RAM memory in that aspect. The RAM memory in that aspect. That's the first thing. Second thing is going to be like this. When we don't have any RAM memory, when we don't have any database over here, we are relying only on RAM memory. Is it safe? Is it good enough to continue with operations? Yes, definitely. We have got some inbuilt backup operations, or inbuilt, I would say, restoration operations are happening over here. A disaster recovery, we call it as a disaster recovery model. That model will put you back online immediately. I mean to say, it might take some 15-20 minutes, but that 15-20 minutes have to be bared. But whereas in your other environments, if you take a backup and it has to be restored onto the tapes, and it will be backed up onto the tapes, and from there again those tapes have to be brought back into the TM1 system. So it's again a cumbersome process for us in various environments. Here also a standard procedure is followed, but immediately we have got a disaster recovery model to put it back again into the RAM memory. Because users will be connecting to the RAM memory and they will be posting the transactions in the TM1 system in the RAM memory only. That's what we need to infer from here. Second thing is going to be, since I said this TM1 tool is used for the analysis purpose, primarily it is used in financial analysis. I would say balance sheet, profit loss, cash flow management, order management, these kind of financial statements can be prepared, or financial statements will be addressed in TM1 primarily. It doesn't mean that we are rolling out for sales management, we are rolling out for marketing, HR, various functional cubes and all. We are not rolling out those aspects or criteria. We are also covering those in TM1, but primarily the return on investment is achieved at a higher rate with financial analytics. I know many clients who have bought the tool for marketing implementation, for TM1 marketing implementation, and they have moved on to finance domain also. They never left out the other tools, other models, but they have moved on to finance domain also. That's an advantage what we can take it from the on-demand financial analytics tool called as TM1. And coming to the definition, I would say TM1 is a in-memory OLAP 64-bit multi-dimensional tool. TM1 is a in-memory OLAP 64-bit multi-dimensional tool. As I mentioned, it's in-memory. It's all going to be in the RAM memory, and we are not going to have any database. That's the reason why I mentioned as in-memory. OLAP, Online Analytical Processing Tool. It's not a transactional tool. It's not an OLTP. It is a OLAP tool, Analytical Processing Tool. Only analysis is done over here. And the next one is 64-bit. Up to 64-bit we can have, which means we can install the TM1 software. Either it is a 32-bit software or a 64-bit software that can be installed on 32-bit machine or a 64-bit machine. No big deal in that. But you got to be a little bit careful here. You can install 32-bit software on 32-bit version machine, computer machine, or on a 64-bit machine. But a 64-bit software cannot be installed on 32-bit machine. It can be installed only on 64-bit version. The software which I am going to give you, it depends upon the computer type you are having in your at home. Either it is a 32-bit or a 64, please do let me know. Outrightly, if I send you 32-bit, you can install it on either 32-bit machine or on a 64-bit machine. If you want to know the details, right click on the My Computer, go to Properties, you will be able to see that which kind of version it is. Okay, and there are some prerequisites, like installing TM1 is not straightforward. You have to install some prerequisites. I'll give you that list also, and I'll give you those softwares also for installing TM1 on your machine. If you are able to do it, it's well and good. If you want my help, I'll schedule a call separately with you guys, and we can go through it and we can make it possible. Subject to your machine should be Microsoft XP or Microsoft, I would say 7, Windows 7 or Windows 8, but not Vista. Vista or Home Premium, Home versions will not work. You got to be a bit careful with that part. All right, these are some of the, coming back to the subject again or to the definition again. TM1 is in memory, we have discussed. OLAP we have discussed. 64-bit we have discussed. And multi-dimensional tool, multi-dimensional concept we are implementing over here. That's the primary reason why this tool has got huge success. Multi-dimensionality concept. For example, if I say the revenue which needs to be addressed from Australia by Prashant, he'll have some revenue figures with him. And if I say Sunil also wants to update some revenue figures from let's say US, so he'll be updating some revenue figures from there. So in the same cube, different regions we have got. On a different months we might have different months. It's not only for 1 month, we might have for 12 months. Not only for 1 year, we might have for different years. So we have got a month dimension here, we have got a year dimension here, we have got a region dimension here. On top of it, we have got the structure. Revenue must be going into some structure, so that structure also we have got here to address that information. Practically, I'll show you how it looks like and how the TM1 looks like today, so that you will be able to understand what is a multi-dimensional tool more and more about it. Alright, and moreover, when we are going to take a decision in TM1, it will facilitate us to take a better decision. It will facilitate us to take a better decision. Tomorrow, when you meet up a client, they will come to you and they will say, Ramesh, can you tell me if I need this particular information in one particular cube, how many number of dimensions are required? I would definitely say minimum is 2, sir, maximum is 2 to 6 dimensions. Dimensions are like your fact tables, and inside that we have got fields, and the cubes are like your records, fact tables, and your fields. If that is a hierarchy you want to follow or you wanted to understand, you have got cubes, dimensions, and elements. So I'll definitely straight away tell him that we require minimum 2 dimensions, sir. Then he'll ask me, what are the 2 dimensions which I have to give you? One is definitely going to be the time dimension, sir, because where you wanted to record, in which month, that have to be taken into that has to be taken into consideration. Second thing is in which region I have to take into consideration, or on which product. That's a 3-dimensional structure. So minimum is 2 to take a decision, maximum is 2 to 6 dimensions. But when you compare your Cognos cubes or Cognos environment with TM1, I would definitely say in Cognos you might have in dynamic cubes or otherwise, in Cognos D cubes or dynamic cubes, or even in your transformer cubes or otherwise, you might have 40 dimensions or 50 dimensions in one particular cube. Alright, but here, even though if I say it is 2 to 6 dimensions, the maximum we can use is up to 16 to 20 dimensions. The best practice is 12 to 16 dimensions, but not more than 16 dimensions, please. If it is going beyond 16 dimensions or 20 dimensions, the refreshing of data or the populating of data will be a huge task. But how do we address this? We have to rebuild the cube. There is a process for that. I will explain you. We have to map it accordingly. Those 40 dimensions to 20 dimensions, we have to map it and we have to load the data. Alright? Coming to your other point, if I say an ETL tool is there in Cognos, like your Informatica, SSIS, Ab Initio, or some ETL tools are there in Cognos, what is the ETL tool being used in TM1? If you ask me, I would definitely say we have got an inbuilt ETL tool called as Turbo Integrator. We have got an inbuilt ETL tool called as Turbo Integrator, which will allow us or which will be used for extracting, transforming, and loading the data as soon as possible. As a matter of fact, if I use the words, the ETL tool which is used in Cognos might take 2 12 hours, 14 hours to refresh the data, the ETL tool which is used in TM1 will take 3 minutes or 4 minutes. You got the point? Will take less than 3 minutes or 4 minutes. That is one requirement. I'll give you one small challenge also. I'll explain you one small challenge. Recently, we have got a request to do the loading, to complete the loading in TM1 in less than 6 seconds. 6 seconds. We were able to do that. We have completed the 1.2 millions of transaction loading into TM1 in less than 6 seconds. There are some certain functions. We have used those functions and we were able to load TM1 data into TM1 in less than 6 seconds. But whereas in your Cognos planning or EP or enterprise planning or planning cubes or dynamic transformer cubes, it takes 12 hours or 14 hours to load the data. Which one you prefer? Loading for 14 hours and then taking a decision, or loading the data in just less than 6 seconds and taking the decision? So that is the advantage what we have here. The reason is only one reason. We have got an inbuilt ETL tool. Those softwares do not have an inbuilt ETL tool. They are depending upon the third-party ETL tools like SSIS, Ab initio, Informatica, various ETL tools which are available in the market. That's what the comparison statement will address the issues. So if you go to the next slide, we have got here the information and we have to take a better decision. For that, what happened? Descriptive analytics. Why did it happen? Predictive analytics. What will happen? Prescriptive analytics. So we have to adapt this kind of a model in TM1. Whenever you are preparing any model in TM1, you have to address these issues. Alright? This is what is more important. And this is a normal warehouse which you are referring to. Like you might have the data in Excel, XML, or any ODBC, or with Oracle, SQL Server, or anything. You might have data there. No worries. We will connect to the database. We will pull the data into the TM1 system. See, there is no point, or there is no primary thing which I have to say that always the data has to be entered in TM1 model only. You can enter the data in any ERP system, like in your PeopleSoft, Microsoft Dynamics, Microsoft Navision, Addresso. Anywhere you can enter the data. Any ERP tool you can enter the data. For that ERP tool, we will have one. I would say a database, either it is a ODBC database, to say Oracle or PLSQL or SQL, any database you might have. That database will act like a source to me into TM1. See, when I am doing extraction, transforming and loading, I will do it on this ODBC data source. So that information I am pulling into TM1. From there, the end users are connected, and from there, the knowledge reports, ad hoc reports are being generated. Along with TM1, in 10.1 and 10.2, it is good to know Cognos Insight. See, the basic problem with TM1 is, I'll give you, since I'm always talking about the advantages, let me talk about the disadvantages what we have in TM1. The basic disadvantage with Cognos TM1 is, we do not have an efficient reporting mechanism. Like if you schedule a report, if you burst a report, like in your Cognos reports, you will get those reports in your email, or there are some delivery techniques are there. You can get those reports in those manner. Huge reports can be generated. But here we cannot generate the reports in an efficient manner how they are done in Cognos BI. In order to address that issue, Cognos TM1 family, TM1 has decided to come up with a new tool called as Cognos Insight. I'll give you that software also. It's an independent one. It's developed on Java technique. So you can install Cognos Insight on your machine to pull the cubes as a source and generate the reports from Cognos Insight itself. We will talk about it. In addition to that, when you install TM1 on your machine, you will have one tool called as TM1 Architect. When you install TM1 on your machine, like you see on the screen, this is the TM1 Architect. When I double click on this, it opens a local server. It will connect to the local server. It is installed on your machine only. I am having 10.1.1 on your machine. Okay. This is a local server which I am connecting to. I will configure all these items for you. 10.1 is configured on I would say 120-bit encryption. Alright. So it takes some time to load. And this is Architect. So this is Architect, where users can connect to that particular cube, or to the dimensions or whatever we have discussed earlier, and they can prepare some reports or input some data in that. Okay. In addition to that, along with Architect, we have got another tool called as Performance Modeler, which is coming in 10.1 and 10.2. I will give you Performance Modeler tool also. So if you install Performance Modeler on your machine, that is good to go. I mean to say, whatever the activities which you are doing on TM1 Architect can be performed in Performance Modeler also. In TM1 Architect, you cannot have the relationship between one dimension to another dimension, but in Performance Modeler, you can have the relationship between one dimension to another dimension, one cube to another cube. But that relationship is not possible in the TM1 Architect. Since we are coming from age-old scenario, we are still using TM1 Architect, but industry is now planning to move to Performance Modeler. Not yet, not even 0.1% also they have moved into Performance Modeler. They are not completely relying on that, they are relying on TM1 Architect only. So development of cubes and everything, we have to do it in TM1 Architect only. The rest of the activities, playing around with here and there, you can do it in Performance Modeler. Alright, it is taking some time, let it be. We'll come back again. It all depends upon the RAM memory. My RAM memory is just 4 GB. Yeah, it's here. This is Architect. As you see my screen, this is Architect. This is the TM1 admin server. Whenever you install TM1 on your machine, you will have one TM1 admin server. Only one TM1 admin server will be there. Under that, you can have n number of application servers. What is an admin server? What is an application server? I will talk about them in detail later on down the line. And in this local application server, we have got 6 TM1 objects: applications, cubes, dimensions, replications, processes, and chores. We have got 6 TM1 objects over here. This is a cube which I am mentioning, balance sheet management cube. Alright. In this cube, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is a one-time setup. Daily you won't be creating the cube. You will create the cube in one-time setup and you will be posting the data over here. This is the group information. You cannot see the data over there. You have to see white cells to post the data. Now they are in gray mode because they are at consolidated level, and some other is at consolidated. You just have to drag and drop, then you will be able to post the data. Now you see white cells over here. You post the data over here, and we have got an inbuilt forced consolidation algorithm. So no need to write any summation rules. Automatically the values which are entered at lower levels, if you click on recalculate, that value will be populated at higher level. That value will be populated at higher level. So that is an advantage. We can take it from TM1. No need to write any summation levels. That concept is called as forced consolidation algorithm, which is happening in TM1. We will talk about it down the line more and more. As per the definition, if you see, TM1 is an in-memory OLEP 64-bit multidimensional tool. Yes, I have covered in-memory because it is coming and sitting in a RAM memory. That is the reason it is taking a long time. OLEP, analytical processing tool, 64-bit, we have discussed on it, and multi-dimensional tool. These are all the dimensions we have got in one particular cube. Balance sheet management cube, these are all the dimensions. In the collection of all these dimensions, we are posting the data. We are inputting the data. Either it can be done here directly, or it can be done in any ERP tool where we will have a database. That database will act like a source for us to pull the data into TM1 system using Turbo Integrator. That is called extraction, transformation, loading operation. ETL tool will take care of it. That inbuilt ETL tool called as Turbo Integrator is there for us to pull the data into TM1 system. Alright, I'll show you that architecture, then you will get to know more and more. So this is the major difference is being given over here. The difference between Cognos EP and TM1. Primarily they'll say in TM1 we will have an advantage, more advantage than your Cognos EP, because Cognos enterprise planning is on the edge of decommissioning. Entire tool is on the edge of decommissioning. So in 10.1 we do not have any migration mode. Earlier people, if they wanted to migrate from enterprise planning to TM1, they have to rewrite the cubes. But whereas in TM1 10.2 version, no need to rewrite the cubes. The EP will generate an XML file, and that XML file will act like a source for us in 10.2. We have got a model here, data migration model we have got. That that tool we have got directly over here, planning migration tool. So with help of that planning migration tool in 10.2, we can migrate the enterprise planning tool to TM1. But in 9.4, 9.5 and 10.1, we do not have that technique. We have to rewrite all those 40 dimensions, have to be restructured into a new dimensionality in TM1. That's a cumbersome process. If that is being taken care, that used to take ages for us, used to take, but now we are not handling that anymore. Okay, and in TM1 10.2 or in 10.1 or in 9.4 or 9.5, we have got planning, budgeting, analysis, and scorecarding. In this technique, we are seeing here planning techniques, definitely planning. For example, if this is the case, I will put it in this way. I was asked to prepare a budget statement. Management has given me some $1,000. They asked me to prepare a budget statement. In that case, I will prepare a budget statement how to spend that money for next 1 year on various sectors, like $100 on marketing, $100 on promotions, $100 on advertisements, something like that. I'll give a statement to the management. They will agree for it. They'll agree for it and they'll ask me to proceed further to spend that budget. But budget always says within the constraint. We should not go out of that constraint. That is what you need to keep in your mind. I cannot ask more than $1,000. At the same time, since I've given the reclassification of the budgeting, I cannot spend more than $100 for marketing for the 12 months. I cannot spend more than $100 for promotions for the 12 months. So now, management will ask me to prepare a forecasting statement. A forecasting statement has to be prepared in such a way that how I wanted to spend this $100 which is given for marketing next 3 months. Alright, for first month I would like to forecast it, or I would like to project it as $10. Out of 100 I wanted to spend in first month $10, second month $2, third month another $3 more. So that is within the budget. It's always coming within the budget because your $100 is still there, and out of it you are spending only 10 plus 3 plus 2. It's only $15 you have consumed in first 3 months. You are still in the budget. When you are having that constraint. You projected those figures like that. That is what the forecasting will say. You are forecasting it for tomorrow. You are forecasting it for next month, for a couple of months coming ahead. That is what happening over there. Then management will ask you to prepare the actuals, which is nothing but the debits and credits transaction which are happening on that particular day. Today is actual, right? Tomorrow is forecast, and the value should be within the budget. That's what we are going to develop in TM1. In one word, I will say we are going to develop in TM1 by preparing budgeting, forecasting, and planning. In addition to this, in 10.2, we have got a new concept called as scorecarding. We have got a new concept called as scorecarding. That is what we are going to discuss in 10.2. Scorecarding cubes. We will develop those cubes using performance modeler, and we will work on the scorecarding. Like forward mapping, backward mapping, and all these kind of mappings and network diagrams and all. We'll have it in scorecarding techniques, scorecarding cubes. Those are not available in TM1 in 10.1 version. Specifically, they are available in 10.2 only. Okay. Coming to this, where we can implement TM1. As I mentioned, budgeting, solution support, enhancements, advanced analytics can be done, forecasting can be done. What kind of forecasting? Balance sheet forecasting, cash flow forecasting, periodic forecasting, and rolling forecasting. I will talk about, since I have worked in rolling forecasting, I can talk about it. If I have worked in cash flow forecasting, I can talk about it. I have worked on balance sheet forecasting, I can confidently talk about it. Periodic forecasting, I have never worked on it. I didn't get chance because my companies have never implemented periodic forecasting in TM1, so I cannot talk. So you have to ignore that part. And not only this, various things. If you come up with, if you have any solution, if you are working in a manufacturing industry, talk to me please. I will provide some TM1 solution for that. That's how we have to develop ourselves. It doesn't mean, see, if I know what is the in and out of forecasting, the periodic forecasting, then definitely I can implement for periodic forecasting also. It's not a rocket science since we have implemented for other techniques. The company is not using it. That's what we are going to do here. Migration in the solutions enhancement is very important. Migration from existing platform to TM1, very important. We'll be talking about it down the line. TM1 model redevelopment. That's what I was mentioning. In TM1 we are going to pull the data from planning to TM1. That's what we are going to do. Version upgrades can be done. These are all the action items we are going to work towards in TM1. These are the new features what we have got in 10.2, like multi-threaded query, TM1 web, case model, scorecarding, mobile contributor, cloud computing, performance modeler, Cognos planning migration. If I come from here from the down, I spoke about Cognos planning migration. This is a tool we are getting in 10.2 where we can migrate the data from Cognos planning to TM1. That's what we can do here. Performance modeler. This is an alternate model for your TM1 architect, which has given you some justifications for that. We'll go through the performance modeler. It's again an URL. I'll give you that URL and you can work towards that URL also. Next is we have got here cloud computing. We have got a cloud computing also here. Private cloud and public clouds we have got. Inside the organization, outside the organization also we can share the models and we can share the cubes, so that cloud computing is available over here. Okay. Next is mobile contributor. If you talk about it, contributor concept is there in 9.4, 9.5 versions, but not, sorry, in the 9.5 I've got contributor, 9.4 you don't have contributor. In 10.1 there is no contributor at all. In again 10.2 we have got contributor model. The contributor is like, you will contribute the data on the go, on the fly. When you are in flight, you wanted to submit some data, you can do that. As of now, it is done only through iPad. I will show you because I have got my iPad with me and I have taken the screenshots from that and I have worked, and I'll show you the screenshots also down the line. As I mentioned, we can input the data from contributor. We can input the data in TM1 cube. As I have shown you here, over here, we can input the data in the TM1 cube. These data can be inputted in TM1 web also. We'll have a TM1 web URL. We can have that on that part also. Earlier in 9.4, 9.5 and 10.1, we do not have TM1 web with Java based environment. In 10.2, we have got that with Java environment. In 9.4, 9.5, 10.1, we do not have it with Java. We have got with .NET application. In order to work with TM1 web, you need to have .NET 3.5 framework service pack 1 at least. But in 10.2, Java runtime environment is good to go. No need to have .NET version, .NET in your machine. Because for faster approach, when I say Java, definitely you must be having an idea of applets. So the applets will be loaded, and for faster approach, we are relying on this Java environment in TM1 web. Because TM1 web is performance-wise, it is a bit slow in the .NET version, but it's pretty good in 10.2 with Java. That's what we can say. And in addition to that, we have got a cake model also, which is a separate model where we can have, I would say, interactive approach to the cubes. Interactive approach in sense, graphical methodology, graphics, and we can put the graphs and pie diagram, chart diagram, any chart diagrams, whatever you are doing with your Analysis Studio, Query Studio, Report Studio, and your Cognos BI, those can be achieved with cake model. There is a new model which has come into the market. Not a great one, since I worked on it for a couple of months, but not a great one. It will take some time for to get to that mark. Not as good as your Report Studio, Query Studio, Analysis Studio, but it will take some time. Maybe 10.3 you might have a mature version. Okay, but some bugs are there. That's the reason we have got the 10.2.2 version as of now. Okay. As we have already discussed on scorecarding tips, network diagram and all these kind of diagrams, you can have it in scorecarding. TM1 lab we have discussed. Multi-threaded queries, very important concept in 10.2. In 9.4, 9.5 versions, when you are loading the data to Turbo Integrator, I would say only one process can be achieved, one output can be achieved at a time, only one output, not 2 or 3 outputs. But at least in 10.1, when you are executing something, immediately when you are trying to execute another one, it will give a ticket and it will say, it will put it in a wait state. Say, once I complete the execution, you can start doing the execution operation. So that is achieved in multi-threaded query in 10.1. But in 10.2, simultaneously you can execute 2 or 3 processes simultaneously. That is a performance, great performance which we can talk about it in 10.2. In 10.2. Okay? I'll record it once again. Yeah. So in 10.2, that multi-threaded query, with help of that multi-threaded query, we can have multiple processes which can be executed at a single given point of time. That is an advantage with multi-threaded query in 10.2 version. But that is not there in 10.1 and 10.1 9.4 and 9.5. Forget about 9.4 and 9.5. At least in 10 we have got some wait state. In 10.2 we do not have that wait state also. Okay. And coming to the other models, operations console, very important one. Operations console is like, I would say, in order to track who is logging into the machine, what they are doing, how much RAM memory they have consumed, how much RAM memory they have left out with, and all these kind of operations we can see that in operations console. Like, how many number of servers are running, application servers, all these things we can monitor in operations console. In one single, see, some administrators will usually work on this. I have recently taken this session for my previous students on operations console. So I'll take definitely one more session for you guys. It's a very interesting one. It's just 1 hour session. So a pretty interesting topic. You can have that over the weekends. Usually, my performance modeler, Cognos Insight, operations console, some rolling forecasting techniques, these kind of, different topics I'll take along with my previous students. So it could be somewhere down the lane on the weekends. This coming Sunday, I have scheduled it for performance modeler for my previous students. So if you are interested, you can join, but it will be difficult for you to get it from there. Okay. Anyways, I will talk about it performance modeler down the lane once again. That doesn't come under, that will not come under the TM1 product. When TM1, it's totally different line. So out of my interest, I'm giving you those tools. Topics for you. Okay. Yeah. Coming back to the installation here, we have got server 2008 and 10.2 we are installing. You have to make sure that .NET framework 4.0 is installed on that server in order to work with this rule editor. This .NET framework 4.0 is required. 4.0 is required. So in order to work with the rule editor, there is a rule editor which needs to be executed. When you open this cube, when you right click on this cube, maybe 1 second. Yeah, it is here. Right click, create rule, it opens a rule editor. This is a rule editor. In order to work on this rule editor, you have to write a business case, business rules over here. We need to have .NET 4.0 framework. Okay, recommended that this is the version. Along with this, we need to have Excel 2010, 2007 or 2013 to 13 installed on your machine. Along with that, we have to install Microsoft Visual C++ 2010 redistributable package in 10.2. When it comes to 10.1, we should have Visual C++ 2005 model redistributable package. I'll give you this package also. It's just 2 MB file. You can download it right away from the internet also. And upon then, when you right click on the software, I think I have the software here. Let me go to it. Yeah, this is the file 10.2. Right click on Windows 32 and right click on this file. Run as administrator, and you will be able to install the 10.2 version on your machine straight away. When you complete all these prerequisites, you should be able to install TM1 on your own. It takes hardly, I would say, 2 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours, depends upon your processor speed also. 2 to 2.5 hours, the installation will be completed. Yeah, it's a pretty simple one, straightforward. A couple of next buttons will be there. I'll show you those which are captured in my presentation. So once if it is done, you can install the software without any issue. Okay. Yeah. When you do that, when you are doing the deployment, make sure that you are having the server components as TM1 admin server and Cognos TM1 server, TM1 web and application server, and as a client components, you make sure that you are checking on TM1 perspectives, architect, performance modeler, and insight, because these are the client components. When you are doing on the server, these are the server components. These have to be checked. Okay. Typically, when you are doing a computer installation, make sure that you are having in a web application tier, TM1 admin server should be there, TM1 server, TM1 tools. I will talk about these down the line more and more in detail, these items. Web application tier, we have got Cognos TM1 application gateways, application server, TM1 web, and operations console. By default, in 10.2, it is taking Apache Tomcat. It is getting application gateway as Apache Tomcat, but whereas in your 10.1, you have to configure through IAS by default. When 10.1, I would say by default over there, IAS is required, Internet Information Services. But in 10.2, we are doing it with we are doing it with Apache Tomcat. We are not doing it, we are not handling it anymore with IAS. It's relying completely on our gateway application gateway is happening on Apache Tomcat. Next is client side, TM1 perspectives, insight, you have to install TM1 APIs. If you have developed some code in C++ or C or Java or somewhere, you can use that as an API in the application programming interface and you can call that into TM1. That also can be done. Okay. In development layer, we have got architect and performance modeler. These are very important. Along with this, some sample databases are also getting installed. TM1 and Cognos TM1 applications. Some sample databases you will have it. Like you have to, whenever you do the installation, make sure that you are doing it on C drive, because C drive will have all the files. So if I have got 10.1 in my machine, I'm going to the program files, IBM, Cognos, TM1. If it is a 32-bit installation, all the exe files and DLL files will sit in bin folder. If it is a 64-bit, it is going to be in bin 64-bit folder. And these are the samples, the sample databases. Drives. See, I have configured this P data. If you closely observe, I have configured this P data over here. How do I configure this? I just go to the file, options, browse. I'll select whichever directory I want from here. If I want whichever directory I want from here, I'll select the directory and I'll click on local server on startup. I can configure this. This is how I'm starting this local server. Otherwise, we can also have the servers which are running through the services. I will show you how to do that later on down the line. I will show you how to do that. Okay. The services also we can run them on. Okay. How do we upgrade? Full and full. We have got some upgrade data migration techniques, like migrating the data from 10.1 version to 10.2. Uninstallation has to happen, because once if it goes from lower version to higher version, the data will completely sit in that. You cannot come back to the lower version. You got to be a bit careful with it. There's upgrading techniques are there which you have to follow in TM1. Okay, in TM1 10.2 version. And these are the BUs. TM1 web will look like this for you. This is a case model, as I mentioned, through graphs and all. We can have it over here. If you must have worked on Cognos analysis, the same extension is used in Excel over here. Cognos analysis. If you have worked in Cognos analysis, same extension is used in case model. No big deal in that. This is TM1 mobile. I will have got some. Yeah. Yes, Anil, you are mentioning something. You got some question over here. I see that you have mentioned hi. And this is Cognos Insight, where we can generate some reports. Go to the previous slide. Okay, sir. Yes. Yeah. Excuse me. What is that you have got the question over here? It always says that you have to uninstall the previous version. If you are doing it on the same machine, you have to uninstall the previous version and then you have to install it on that machine. When you're going from 10.2 version to 10.2 or 2.1 or 2.2. Yeah. Anything you have got to ask here? Okay, as I mentioned, TM1 does not use, as I mentioned, I already mentioned that point. TM1 does not use, now 10.2 does not use Microsoft Internet Information, but instead of it is using Java web applications there, such as provided the Apache template. I mentioned this point to you already. The same thing they have mentioned it over there. Yeah? Yeah. So, this is how a TM1 web will look like, and a TM1 mobile will look like. And TM1 mobile, you have to check it out in your iPad only, not in your iPhone. As of now, it is given only on iOS, not on Android phones. Okay, and we have got Cognos Insight over here, so we can see that in the Cognos Insight model also. As I mentioned, Cognos Insight is a replacement for your, is a perfect replacement for your Cognos BI. No, the same whatever you are achieving there, you can achieve it over here. You must have got a look over here. Okay. This is a contributor. I have taken the screenshot from my iPad. So this is how you log in into the contributor. It will ask for the which domain you wanted to connect, the port numbers and all you have to provide it. And when you click on connect, you will connect to the contributor. Now you can post your, you can browse those cubes and you can post the data from contributor itself. Since we do not have any implementation, I cannot show you right away on that part. But this is how a contributor you can connect to through your iPad. Okay. And this is how the installation should go through. If you see, these are the checkpoints. You have to click on all these and you have to click on all these checkpoints. The same expansion is given over here. If you understand, the same expansion is given over here, that you have to select all these over here. Yeah, here. So the same expansion is given over here, that you have to check mark all these items. Same thing is given in this slide. Okay. And when installation is completed, Cognos Insight will be like this. TM1 is going to be with architect, IBM Cognos configuration and perspectives, TM1 perspectives, US and Excel, and a separate folder will be created for performance modeler. A separate folder is created in 10.2, a separate folder is created. This is a 10.1 installation, and separate folder is created for performance modeler. But whereas in your 10.1, it comes along with TM1 web operations console. I will show you that. Okay. And as I mentioned, as I've shown you, that this is a TM1 architect. We will connect to TM1 architect and we can post the data. You see this transactions which are getting, these are all the application services, go new stores and all these things. Okay. And as I mentioned, we have already inserted some data in the cube. The same input, the screenshot has been given over here. If you closely observe, this particular diagram will explain you TM1 server is going to be here, is here. Inside that we have got cubes and dimensions separately. In cubes we are going to have views and rules. I'm just introducing these keywords. Don't get panicked with this. I'm just introducing these keywords. We'll talk about it more down the lane. Okay? And then inside these dimensions, we have got subsets and elements. So we got to categorize these things, and then only a cube will be formed in that particular server. Okay? For now, for today, I would say whenever you do installation, it is definitely going to be one admin server. You're going to install TM1 on only TM1, install TM1 in your machine. It is going to be one TM1 admin server. Under the TM1 admin server, we will have n number of application servers. Under the TM1 admin server, we will have n number of application servers. You got my point? You got it, mates? Understood, right? Yeah. So this we have already spoken. TM1 model, forward looking and backward looking. In forward looking, we have got planning, forecasting and budgeting. I've given you a better example with that. And in backward looking, we have got reporting and analysis. These two will be categorized, they can be handled in TM1 Cube and the Cognos Insight, performance modeler, and everything can be handled over here in backward looking. Okay, this is TM1 architecture. If you closely observe, this TM1 architecture is talking about TM1 server which we are installing here. Inside this TM1 server, we have got TM1 cubes, applications like we can connect to TM1 Microsoft Excel, we can connect to TM1 Web, and the data which is sitting in an ERP system or database ODBC or Oracle or PLSQL or any text files is pulled into TM1 through Turbo Integrator, that is an ETL tool, and from that ETL tool, that data is coming and sitting in that TM1 cube, this TM1 cube. You got it? So practically checking on these items, TM1 cube is here, dimensions are here, and processes are here. Now, this process is nothing but a Turbo Integrator, create new process. This will open a Turbo Integrator, which is nothing but our ETL tool. As I mentioned, these are the data sources we have got here. We will put through one data source. We will browse that file, whatever has been given to us, and that will act like a source to us, and we can populate the data into the TM1 environment. That is what they are saying here. That is what that Turbo Integrator is pulling the data either from text files or from ODBC or whatever it may be. You can see the ODBC also here, ODBC and ODBO and anything, even from your Cognos packages also. From your Cognos package. In order to work on this, you should have a package connector, IBM Cognos package connector. That will come with an additional cost that is not coming along with TM1. You have to purchase the package. Okay, and that is what we are seeing here. But this is a simple architecture. When you compare with some other architectures, this is a very simple architecture. In a detailed way, TM1 admin server is what we are having the data here, and in between that we have got a server over here. It is nothing but Apache Tomcat in 10.2, and it is in 10.1 we are going to have IAS, so that is used for connecting TM1 web and TM1 controller contributor web. From here, desktop clients, architect client, perspective client, and Cognos Insight. These are the clients we have got whom they can connect to the machine. So, as I mentioned, as I've given you in earlier stages, TM1 is used, TM1 abbreviation is like, inbuilt OLAP 64-bit in memory. I mean to say in memory OLEP 64-bit multi-dimensional to some advantage. I mean some abbreviation I've given to you. If you correlate those statements, 64-bit in memory, OLEP engine is there, turbo integrated, which is going to do the ETL orchestration for us, business user modeling, which is used for your modeling in TM1, that is done through performance modeler. We can write business rules over here, and application workflow is there. Like suppose workflow is like I would say if Sunil wants to enter some data, he will be doing it, and that can be rejected, approved, reassigned. Some 6 levels are there. So that part can be done by Prashant or Ramesh or whoever it may be. So we can do that activity. So in the administrator rights are there, so that we can assign, we can we can reassign, and we can reject it, we can approve it. 6 structures are there in that workflow. We have to follow those operations. When TM1 web only, we can see those operations console, applications console, we can see those items. See, bottom line is what can be done through TM1? Budgeting, planning, forecasting, what if modeling, and at the same time customer churn analysis for marketing models, profitability analysis, scorecarding, financial reporting. These are the things, these are the items which you can achieve through this TM1 performance management application framework. This is a framework, I would say. In this framework, we can achieve these items. That's what we are going to see over here. Okay. In detail, if you talk about more about integration with Cognos BI and TM1, we have got a Cognos server, and we have got a workspace server, which is a Cognos inside. From there, we are connecting to TM1 applications and performance modeler in TM1. But whereas whereas in this, we are connecting to the Cognos connection, and from there to Cognos workspace, and we are connecting to report studio, query studio analysis. How do we integrate both of these two items? See, you might have a Cognos BI link. URL you might be having. Rather than you having a separate URL for TM1, a separate URL for Cognos BI, Cognos TM1 icon can be integrated in Cognos BI URL itself. I'm repeating the statement once again. Rather than you having a separate TM1 URL and separate Cognos BI URL, either you can have Cognos BI icon. It's going to be in an icon that can be incorporated in your TM1 URL, or that TM1 icon can be incorporated in Cognos BI URL. So it will be facilitating the users to work on that activity. We have got the proven practice documentation also. I think somewhere it is there. I've got 200 plus documents which I'll be sharing with you guys, so that you can download and you can take a look at it. Somewhere over here some integration model will be there. Integration. Security integration, business intelligence. Some integration model document will be there over here. Deploying Cognos TM1, what is it? I think this is the one. TM1 is Cognos, deploying security. This is the security model. We can implement the security also in the same way. Let me check this document. It's a proven practice actually. You just follow the steps, you will have this. I don't know why it is taking some time. This is fetus document, not required. Let me see this. Else we'll move on. That's the basic one. Hey, somewhere over here. I know we have done that in the past. We have implemented that in the past. Anyways, backup recovery, TM1 BI integration. Let me see this. Yeah, TM1 Cognos BI integration. It's only for 8 they have mentioned, but you can have it for 10 point. No, there is one more document which I know, but I don't see it here somewhere. Anyways, it's somewhere over here. We can have that integration. No need to have separate strategy for Cognos BI and separate strategy for TM1. Okay, so that's what they are saying. when you have with TM1 security, the same security whatever you are wearing in TM1 can be implemented in Cognos BI also. The same security which is there in Cognos BI, the security model can be implemented in TM1 also. That is what we can see over here in this integration points or integration steps, where we have got a package connector which will transfer the data from source to destination or destination to source. It is acting like a bidirectional stuff over here in TM1 and with Cognos BI. That's what we are having it over here. Okay, and this is how we can in 10.2, as we have seen in 10.1, we have got here, this is the leveraging model. This is the leveraging model we have got here. Like, we can leverage with ODBC text and all these items. Same thing we can have it with, we can have it in 10.2, we are going to have it with these models, CAM model, basic model, integrated model, and what is the source type and which are the source type and integrated connector settings. These are all the connector settings. You can have these leverages over there with the TM1 when it comes to pulling the data from one source to another destination. In 10.2 we can have this, and based upon this we can also extend enrich the TM1 based analytics. Like, I would say, as I mentioned at the beginning, that a relationship can be given from one cube to another cube and one dimension to another dimension. The same technique is followed over here. If you closely observe, the same technique is followed over here. You can have that relationship model in performance modeler. Some experience, some time dimensions relationship can be formed over here. That we'll see that down the line. How do we go about it? Okay, and this one is talking about the private cloud and public cloud. Based upon the standards we have got implemented in TM1, we are going with private cloud and public cloud. Like, you can have a separate cloud by yourself to transfer the data. No need to rely on internet. Mainly you can transfer the data based upon that cloud. That is an advantage. We are going to take it from here. Okay, that's an advantage. We are taking it from here. All right. And this one is a cloud mechanism, how cluster-wise mechanism, like, what are the hosted applications in that cloud, and what are the services are offered, and what can be achieved in that shared folder, and who can access that shared folder for data integration. If you know, it's an approach comes like this. What happened to this? Yeah, let's see. So we can have a cloud system where we can have some hosted applications. From there, the services which are offered from the hosted applications, we will put those items in the shared folder. From the shared folder, we are giving it into a transfer, and from there we are giving it to the customer site. Some shared, some protected shared network. That's what we are achieving it over here. All right. In addition to that, the major advantage or the biggest feasibility what we have in TM1 is, in 10.2 version, is validation. Suppose if I ask you to enter the data for tomorrow, and if you are in today, then a validation is required. You cannot enter the data for tomorrow today itself, right? See, actual figures can be entered only when you are at that place. Today in your pocket you have got $100,000, let's say. Tomorrow it might be more than that, it might be less than that. But you can only project. You might say that tomorrow I might have $120,000. I might have $1,000. It might be possible, it can be possible. That validation is possible in TM1. It's a beautiful topic where, earlier users used to post the data in a different mode, and we do not have any control on that part. Like, what they are posting, because we are the ones who are developing the cube and we are giving it to them. It's their look after to post the values. But if they are doing some mistakes, again they will come back to us and they will ask us to reclassify the numbers or clear the numbers, or many items are there for us to address on top of it. So no, we don't encourage such items, such things. They have to be responsible while posting the data. But earlier it is the case, but now in 10.2 we have got a validation technique. We will put a validation saying that if it is greater than 1,000, you cannot enter it here. You have to enter somewhere else. If it is less than 1,000 only, you can enter in this field. Like that, you can put some validation and you can ask them to enter the data. That kind of pop-up messages and everything can be seen in TM1 validation in the 10.2 version, but not in 9.4, 9.5 or 10.1 versions. Okay. This is TM1 worksheet. We will be working on worksheet also. We will be connecting to TM1 perspectives, and then we will be pulling the data, posting the data into TM1 input sheets. So I've got some input sheets, maybe I can show you that as of now. We've got some input sheets over here, TM1 files, input sheet. We'll create one input sheet like this. Rather than you entering the data in balance sheet management cube over here, we can enter the data in TM1 input sheet. We will create an input sheet similar to one like this. Now we'll create it, and it's a standalone report. So we'll create one and we'll give it to the users. We will host it in the applications folder over here. In the applications folder, we will go through one by one. Then we will be able to get the familiarization with the items or topics. So we'll be posting the data in that particular scenario. Okay. This is the technique, or this is the model which we are implementing in TM1. You know, and it comes in 9.4, 9.5, 10.1, and 10.2 versions. Okay. We will go through that down the line more and more. Coming back to the subject again, if you see, TM1 server is installed over here. A data directory is there, which is nothing but a hard disk. From hard disk, when you load the services, data will come and sit in the TM1 RAM memory. From there, the users will come and connect to the TM1 RAM memory. Once they post the data, they will click on save data, and then it will go and save in the hard disk. Until unless that, it will save in the RAM memory only. The entire description is given over here. What happens and why will it happen and when will it happen? What is you mean by RAM memory and all these this statement I have prepared and I have kept it over here. We will go through it down the line when we are implementing a TM1 server. Maybe you can read these lines for today, but when you implement it practically, maybe tomorrow, then when we are configuring the server, so you will be able to understand what exactly it looks like, and the architecture, how it is implemented in TM1. When we configure something, practically we can see that. So today is only the basics one, or the theoretical part. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to have the practical session of configuring the TM1 server, and from there onwards, we will talk about the dimension creation, cube creation from there onwards. Okay. There's a standard security which we can implement. As I mentioned, as I log into the application server, I provide my username and password, and I log into that application server. That is going to be verified. And that verification is done by TM1 admin server to log into the application server, and we can establish a connection, and we can pull the data, or we can post the data into that. This is one kind of application, this thing. And in addition to that, we have got authentication which is happening on LDAP servers. When I talk about LDAP server, it is going to be like this. For example, if I say LDAP or Active Directory, already an account has been created for you in that location, and an alias will be used from that location into TM1. The same alias name will be given in TM1 also, so that you need not provide the username and password once again. Once if you log in into your machine, that is good to go with TM1. That is called as an integrated login. That integrated login we will configure in configuration file, tm1s.configuration file, which we will be talking about it more and more deeper down the line tomorrow. So once if it is configured there, an integrated account can be used, and an integrated account can be used, and we can log into the machine. So that is done through either LDAP or Active Directory. You must have heard of these lines, LDAP or Active Directory in your organization. So same thing is used over here also. All right. If you have got the Cognos BI already installed on that machine, whatever the CAM group, Cognos authentication model, capability authentication model, which is used in Cognos BI, can be replicated to TM1 also. Can be replicated in TM1 also. Whatever the groups you have got over there, groups are like Australia users list, Sweden users list. You might have some control over that. The same users list can be incorporated into this also. It's a bidirectional. You can replicate from Cognos BI to TM1 and TM1 to Cognos BI. You can do bidirectional. That's what we can see in replication. And primarily, this is the files overview. If you got to work on TM1, you have to remember these files: .blb, .cho, .cub, .dim, .dit, ASCII dimensional files, .pro files, and all these files you have to memorize. These extensions you have to memorize to work towards the TM1 model, implementing a TM1 model. So no, this is just basics which I've given you today. I've introduced many keywords. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask anytime. I should have said this word statement before our session begins. And in addition to that, you can write an email to me for any questions. Keep everyone in CC so that others can also get to know what exactly they are having. They might not have got this idea or doubt, but if they see your question, they'll have some idea on top of it. That's what I feel like. This is the topic. We have covered administration. I mean, sorry, we have covered the introduction part, and